In a world where church walls are emptying, but the search for meaning grows stronger, are we truly losing God or uncovering a deeper truth about ourselves? This video explores why so many Americans are stepping away from religion, what they are finding instead, and how it could reshape the future of faith. A must-watch for anyone questioning where belief fits today. Welcome to Axis of Curiosity, the place where life's biggest questions meet open minds. In today's video, we explore a powerful question: are we losing God or finding ourselves? As more people step away from traditional religion, a new search for meaning is unfolding, and understanding this shift is more important than ever. If you find value in exploring life, faith, and identity from fresh perspectives, make sure to like this video, subscribe to the channel, and share it with others who are curious about the deeper truths shaping our world. In today's America, fewer people define their identity through church membership, yet the longing for meaning has not disappeared, it has simply shifted inward. Psychologists like Carl Jung once suggested that religion is a collective expression of inner human needs, and now many Americans are exploring those needs directly, through personal spirituality rather than institutional faith. Instead of pews and sermons, people turn to meditation apps, yoga studios, or quiet walks in nature as ways of touching the sacred. Surveys show that younger generations often describe themselves as spiritual but not religious, a phrase that reflects both a skepticism of rigid dogma and a hunger for authentic connection with something greater. The decline of church attendance does not necessarily signal a loss of faith, but rather a reorientation from external authority to inner exploration. In a society that values individual freedom, this shift reflects a broader cultural movement. Spirituality is no longer confined to doctrine, but is becoming a deeply personal journey where each person is both seeker and guide. Many Americans today feel that traditional faith structures no longer answer the questions they struggle with in daily life. Organized religion once provided moral certainty, community, and a sense of stability, but cultural shifts have exposed its limitations. Sociologists point out that younger generations, raised in a world of rapid change and global connectivity, are less willing to accept absolute truths handed down without questioning. Scandals in religious institutions, rigid rules around identity and sexuality, and the political entanglement of faith have further eroded trust. Psychologists note that modern individuals seek authenticity and personal growth, yet often feel constrained by dogmas that seem disconnected from their lived experiences. For many, the emphasis on conformity overshadows the deeper spiritual longing for love, meaning, and self-discovery. This disconnect is not always a rejection of God, but rather of institutions that fail to adapt to human diversity and evolving values. In this sense, the feeling that faith is not enough reflects a profound cultural desire for freedom of belief without the weight of inherited boundaries. Across the United States, a quiet revolution is unfolding as people craft belief systems that blend tradition, psychology, and personal experience. Instead of inheriting ready-made doctrines, individuals are piecing together meaning from diverse sources, borrowing wisdom from Buddhism, finding calm in mindfulness practices, or drawing inspiration from science and philosophy. Psychologists highlight that this trend reflects a deep human need for coherence in a fragmented world, where rigid dogmas often fail to address the complexity of modern life. Social media has accelerated this shift, allowing people to share spiritual practices and philosophies outside the confines of church walls, creating a new form of community built on curiosity rather than conformity. For many, truth is no longer located in a single sacred text, but discovered through an ongoing process of reflection, dialogue, and lived experience. This personalized spirituality signals not a loss of moral compass but a reimagining of it, an attempt to anchor life in values that resonate authentically with one's inner world while still engaging with the challenges of a changing society. For many Americans, spirituality has begun to flourish in spaces untouched by religious dogma, where the focus shifts from obedience to experience. Meditation and mindfulness, once seen as foreign practices, are now mainstream methods for cultivating inner peace and clarity. Psychologists argue that these practices help people reconnect with themselves in a culture overwhelmed by noise and distraction. Nature, too, has become a sanctuary, hiking trails, oceans, and open skies serving as modern cathedrals, where people feel a direct encounter with the sacred. Unlike traditional faith, these forms of spirituality ask for no creed or rigid belief but encourage self-discovery through lived practice. Sociologists note that this approach reflects a broader generational desire for authenticity. Meaning is found not in repeating ancient rituals, but in experiences that awaken presence, compassion, and personal growth. In this way, spirituality without dogma does not reject the sacred, it democratizes it, making transcendence accessible to anyone willing to look inward or outward with awareness and openness. Modern science and psychology have profoundly reshaped how Americans think about God, the soul, and personal identity. Neuroscientists reveal that spiritual experiences often correlate with specific brain activity, suggesting that what once felt purely divine may also have biological roots. Psychologists such as Abraham Maslow and Viktor Frankl highlight that the search for transcendence and meaning is a fundamental human drive, not merely a religious one. This blending of science and spirituality does not necessarily erase belief in God but reframes it. Many now see the divine not as an external ruler but as something interwoven with human consciousness and the cosmos itself. Studies in positive psychology show that practices like gratitude, compassion, and meditation improve mental health, echoing what religions taught for centuries, but now supported by empirical evidence. In this way, science and psychology offer Americans a bridge. They preserve the eye and depth of spirituality, while grounding it in human experience, allowing faith and reason to coexist in shaping modern identity. Across America, the decline of church attendance has not erased the human need for belonging, it has simply redirected it. Friendships, local communities, and social movements now provide many of the same roles that religion once fulfilled: purpose, solidarity, and shared identity. Psychologists note that people thrive when they feel part of something larger than themselves, and in today's culture, that something larger often takes the form of causes like climate activism, racial justice, or mental health awareness. These movements create modern rituals, marches, gatherings, online campaigns that mirror the bonding once found in religious services. Even informal spaces such as book clubs, sports teams, or online forums have become sanctuaries where people exchange support and meaning. Sociologists argue that this reflects a generational shift. Younger Americans want community, grounded in authenticity rather than hierarchy. By building connections through compassion, equality, and shared values, people are proving that community can flourish without rigid dogma, showing that our capacity for belonging is not limited to religion but rooted in our humanity. For some, the decline of organized religion in America appears to be a crisis of turning away from God, tradition, and the values that shaped society for generations. But for others, it represents something profoundly different, an awakening to a more personal, authentic way of experiencing the divine and understanding ourselves. Psychologists suggest that questioning faith is not always a loss, but often a step toward growth, where doubt opens the door to deeper reflection. Sociologists note that this shift mirrors a cultural desire for freedom, where spirituality is not dictated by institutions but discovered in daily life, in compassion, in community, and in the quiet search within. Perhaps we are not losing God at all but learning to see God in new places, in our relationships, in acts of justice, and in our own evolving consciousness. Thank you for joining this exploration. If this reflection gave you something meaningful to think about, please like this video, subscribe to Axis of Curiosity, and share it with others who are asking the same questions.